quickie. Again today we're going to take some movements that focus on core strength or core stability. So we'll get started with taking the fingertips to the shoulders and just twisting from side to side to warm up the obliques as well as the low back. From here we're going to come into either box kicks or the can-can. Okay, so for box kicks, you'll take one of your feet behind you, sort of tuck your heel in by your hip. And you're gonna get your hands out of your way like a kangaroo or a boxer. You're gonna pull down with your belly button, kick your back leg forward, bring your other foot to meet it, and tuck your feet around, just changing sides. And then you'll bring it back, out, front, and back. And the back comes front, and so forth. Now if the box kicks don't work for you because you have real long legs, you can come to one hip, kick out through center, the other hip, kick out through center. So you want to imagine like there's a string at the center of your chest that's lifting you up toward the ceiling, and you want to stay on your sitting bones. You never want to roll back onto your sacrum. So you can do either the can-can or the box kicks, whichever variation works for you. Keep going. Just because you start off with the box kicks doesn't mean you have to end up with them. You can always switch over to the can-can if you want to get the best of both worlds. Good. And now I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see what I'm doing. We're going to do half boat ups. So for boat pose, again, you're on your sitting bones, you lift up with your chest and your arms come out. You're gonna come about halfway down and pull in. You can do about 10 to 20 of these. And now we're going to roll it all the way back down for hip lifts. So you're going to keep your arms out to the side. You really don't want to tuck your hands underneath you because of what we're doing. And for me, I like to make sure that I'm not using my hands to hold my body weight by holding them up away from the floor. So you're going to point your toes up toward the ceiling. You're going to cross your right ankle over your left. You're going to pull down with your belly button and lift your hips. For some people, you're not going to go very far. Your hips might not even get up off of the floor. For me, I have a really strong core. I can lift them up nice and high. We don't want you to move too fast because we don't want you to use momentum. So people start going fast and they start using their feet. You're pulling straight down with your belly, then lifting with your hips. And then we're going to change sides across the left, over the right, and keep going. About 10 is usually good. Some people just don't like this because it grinds their spine into the floor, and if that's true for you, you can take whatever variation of a crunch might work for you. Good. And now we're going to flip over onto the belly. So our core sort of wraps around the body. So we tend to forget that the back is part of our core, but it is. So you take your arms out like goalposts, pull up and back, and then release. So it should feel like there's a string between your shoulder blades that's lifting you up. You should not press your belly into the floor to lift you. That's gonna make you throw up, and it's not gonna feel good. So what you're actually gonna do is slurp your belly away from the floor as you lift your chest and your shoulders. Good, and the next time you come up, stay up, and you're gonna take your hands under your chin, I Dream of Genie style, and you're just gonna dip the elbows from side to side. And we'll bring it back down. So we've addressed the upper part of our back. Let's look at the lower part. So we'll also be in hamstrings and glutes here. You're just gonna lift your feet as though someone grabbed you by the front of your foot, by the dorsal side of your foot, like a wheelbarrow. And you just lift them as high as you can and set them back down. So again, really focus, pulling your belly away from the floor. And release. So we're gonna come up to standing, and we'll take some core movement. And I can't move my camera rig any further back, so I realize that some of me is gonna be out of the frame, but you can see the necessary or the most relevant parts of this. So I'll do it going to the side, and then I'll do it going to the front. We're going from tree to three, tree to warrior three. So you come in to your tree pose, and then you're gonna come out parallel to the floor. Then you're gonna slurp your belly in toward your backbone, bend your knee, and bring yourself back to tree. So you're going from tree to three. So here's what it looks like from the front. I'm gonna have to walk forward. Good. So we'll just keep going with that at your own pace on this side. Okay. 7 to 10 will do it, and we'll switch. So now you're balancing or supporting on the other side. Your tree, and your tree can be down here too. It doesn't have to be all the way up. What does have to happen is that you pull your belly in toward your backbone in order to bring your shoulders over your hips. You should feel this in your belly first. If you're feeling this in your back, or if you're feeling this more in your hamstring, something's wrong. You probably need to be pushing your heel on your supporting side into the floor more, or you need to be coming more parallel to the floor or less parallel to the floor. You'll have to play with it and figure out what works for you and your body. Good. And release on this side. So now we're going to take some movement with the lower body, and the objective is to keep the upper body stationary. So you get your hands out of your way, and you're gonna bring your right thigh parallel to the floor. You'll keep your shoulders and your hips parallel. They're gonna wanna come with you. You wanna keep them forward. You're gonna open and close your right knee like a car door. So you're really gonna have to, on your supporting side, squeeze the muscle to the bone. Lift with the arch of your foot. Press down with your heel and the ball of your foot. So what your core is having to contend with is, first you have some weight that's on the outside, it needs to bring it back to center. That's part of the job of your core, is any extraneous weight that deviates from the center line of your body has to be brought back to center, or eventually you'll lose your balance, you'll fall down. So part of your core's job is to pull any body weight that has deviated back to center. So I'll take this on the other side again. The main focus is that you keep your shoulders and hips pointed forward. So if your knee doesn't come out very far, if you don't have good external rotation in the hips, that's fine. We're not really concerned with how high your knee is. We're not hugely concerned with how wide you can open your knee. We're concerned with you're keeping your torso forward and you're taking the movement in the leg only. Good, and release. So we're going to heel toe the feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart. And for me, it's normal to have my toes pointing out more to the side. You might like to have your toes pointed more forward. It doesn't matter, whatever's your preference, as long as your knees and your toes are going the same way. If knees are going forward and toes are going out, that's not going to work. We're going to take the arms up overhead, interlace your fingers, release your index fingers. We're going to take a twist, flat back, over. Now for some people, you're going to stop at parallel. For some people, you might have the flexibility to touch the fingertips to the floor, and then you slurp your belly button to your backbone and bring it up. Twist, touch, pull. Twist, touch, pull. So we'll do 3 more on each side. Remember, you can stop at parallel if you need to. Once more on each side. And back to center. We're going to heel toe the feet together. And if you can't do right smack together, as close as you can, we're going to take a half moon. So you're going to lift, pull your ribs up away from your hips, and dip to the side. So the goal is not to dip as far down as you can. The goal is to push your hip out as far as you can to this side and keep this side of your body hollowed out. And what you'll feel is that this lower part of your oblique is really engaged to stabilize you, to keep you from going too far over to the other side. And back up to center. So lift, push your hip, and dip. So you're really lifting up through the ribs instead of trying to compress as far down as you can. Good. Back to center, release. We're gonna head back to the floor for half moon pose. So we're gonna make a 3-point stance with your feet and one of your hands. So this should make a triangle configuration beneath you. Now you're going to straighten your left leg. So I have my right hand down, my left leg's gonna come out, my right knee is bent right now. This is baby bear, you're more than welcome to take it. You can just have a little bit of mama bear, or you can straighten your right knee and bring your left leg parallel to the floor. So my shoulders and my hips are pointing out to my left. And then you can bring that down. Your 3-point stance again, now with your left hand. So for me, I'll change sides so you can see. So remember, you can just be right here if you're working on the weight distribution and figuring out if you'd like to have your knee bent or straight. You can just lift your back leg a little bit, or for the Papa Bear, you can straighten your supporting leg and try to bring your right leg out parallel to the floor or somewhere near there. Good. And we'll bring it down. So now we're going to heel toe your toes to the side of the mat, your heels are on the mat. You're going to try to take garland pose. Try to sit your hips down and back as far as they'll go. This should be comfortable. Some people end up looking like Johnny Bench, and that's okay, but if you can, drop it down as far as you can. It's a really nice hip opener, and you keep the pressure out of your knees by pulling up with your PC muscle, and it's like you're holding all of your body weight in your solar plexus. You can stay right here, especially if you have bad wrists, elbows, or shoulders, but most of your body weight, or most of the work of holding your body weight, is going to be in your core. It's not going to be in your hands. So if you have a crow practice, you're welcome at this time to walk your hands forward, come onto the balls of your feet, squeeze your elbows to the outsides of your knees, and pick up one foot and then the other foot. And the key here is not to look down, because that's where you'll end up. You want to look about 1.5 feet ahead of you, and imagine that there's a string at the small of your back that's lifting you up. Now, I'm really wide through my hips and through my shoulders, so it's easier for me to approach crow in this way. I like to get my knees into my underarms, my elbows onto my shins, come onto the balls of my feet, then walk it forward. Because the other way that I just showed you, you really have to squeeze your knees and use your adductors to lift you. And because my hips are so far apart, I can't get the torque. So it's easier for me to rest my leg on the back of my arm instead of trying to squeeze from the outside. So if you have a crow practice, keep going. Try to come in and out of it if you can. Most people struggle with crow because they're looking down, and then you're not going to get enough lift, or they're too scared to roll their weight forward. If you need to, you can always tuck and roll, or drop your body weight backwards and fall on your butt backwards. But there's really a low chance for injury if you're doing everything properly. If you're looking in the right direction instead of down, if you roll your weight far enough forward, and again, use your core to lift your body weight. And then when you're ready, you can fall back, take a seated posture, and we'll just Sufi grind this out, just stretching all of the muscles in your torso. And you can reverse it. And when you're ready to bring it in, you can. So I hope this was enjoyable. I'll try to make some more core strength or core-based videos for you, and I'll try to get them in the 20 to 30 minute mark if YouTube will let me upload them. So I hope to see you soon. Namaste.